Hello everyone, welcome to my trade vlog. This is vlog number 4, recording all my trades and the reason I took them and how it panned out. Today is March 4th, 2022, Friday. On Fridays, I tend to trade less or try to take smaller positions as Fridays can be wild swings because options are expiring. Market makers generally tend to make it swing either way. So I tend to stay uh, light on my positions and go with what I get. So let's look at, I took actually quite a lot more trades than the other days on this particular one. Let's look at the various trades I took and the reasons for that and what their results were. Let's look at the first trade. First trade I took was around 816. You can see here that is about 816 would be around here when it started bouncing up. So the reason for this trade was I thought there is going to be a continuation of this flush. I should ideally have waited for this one to come back to the ATME and then use that higher high to get the fill and then take the profit. But then I was not patient enough, so I went and took this trade. As you can see, I sold one contract at 1382, 822, and then I covered it at 13808 because I realized I should not be trading that way. That is against my rules. So I stuck to my rules and then waited for ATME pullback. So as you can see, I took the next trade at around 823, just 5 minutes later, which is when it started pulling up here. So as it pushed higher here, I took the trade somewhere around this area and then it flushed, but then it did not hit my 50-point target and it pulled back to the break even. Since it hit more than 25 points in my direction, my break even got triggered. So it hit the break even. So I closed the trade. The next one was the classic 0 ATR trade. You can see here the price all through the morning has been just jumping around, but then you can see the clear direction towards downtrend. So whenever there's a downtrend and then the price goes back to the 0 ATR, I always take a trade because 0 ATR usually means it will flush again to at least to -2 ATR levels, like I explained the other day, yesterday's video. So I took the position right around 0 ATR and I was looking to take an average out here if it goes there, but then since this is Friday, I just stayed with just one contract. So you can see I took a trade at 862 and then that was covered at 812, 50-point target. If I had taken more than one contract, it would have also hit my second target, which usually is around 75 points. As you can see, it continued to flush. But then once it started continuing to flush, I didn't have any other setup that is coming through. Ideally, I would say this might have been a setup, but this was pushing through and it was already near the Bollinger Bands on the lower level, so I did not want to take that trade. As we move along for the next trade, then the next trade was again 0 ATR setup. It flushed to the -2 ATR and then it is pushing higher. Usually there is always a reaction here, but then even though the CDV cumulative delta was showing that it is reversing, I still went ahead and took the trade because my 0 ATR is purely based on the price action and then from 0 to flush. That's my usual setup. So once I see the setup, even though it was contradicting with CDV, I went ahead and then I took the position here and then it flushed, but it did not flush to 50 points that I wanted. So it hit my break even. So after this, you can see again I took the trade here when it hit the break even. I should have ideally waited um, for taking the trade somewhere here, but then I was impatient. I took the trade because I thought 0 ATR will continue to flush, even though it went down and came back quick. I thought there is a possibility that it can go down. Again, I took the position sooner than I expected. I should have waited until this spot somewhere here to take the position when it was going beyond the 0 ATR, or I should have averaged it out here, which would have cost my at least to hit my first profit, but I did not, and then that also hit the break even. And after this was done, I took couple of stupid trades. Uh, I say stupid trades because it is against my um, position or the setups. You can see I took this trade here around 940, which is around here, and then that is 0 ATR. But then I did not wait for it to flush, so I closed it out for a loss, and then I took another trade. As you can see from here, it was actually a buy. I went long. I thought it is reversing here, and then I went long. I thought it is reversing here, so I went long, but then that was also against my trade rules, so I quickly realized and closed mine. So these two are losses, and then I went with original 0 ATR setup, and I thought if it is going to give me a a flush, I'll take it, otherwise I'll leave it alone. Since this is a proper setup, I took the trade on the flush side to the downside. I took the short. It went down, but then it came up and then hit my break even again. So you can see I hit a lot of break even trades and couple of losses and one winner. And the losses were smaller because I realized quick enough that I'm trading wrong without a setup. So I quickly closed. That was good part of me, but then taking those trades was the bad part. Those are the things that creep into your mind during the course of the day, that you think that your feelings are somehow better than the setups, which on probabilitical scale is not always the case. Feelings are just feelings, setups are setups. So you take trades based on setups, not on feelings. Always try to remember that, and then that has helped me stay uh, keep my equity curve in one direction, not going down. I need to keep learning that. At least I recovered quickly, realizing it, and I did not lose much money. But then that is something that I have to realize and be better at. And once that was done, I know the market reversed here, and there were other setups where we had few other setups like this, where it was testing 21 EMA. These were good places to take longs, but then it is Friday late in the day. I was already sitting on profit, even though I took a couple of small losses. Overall, for the day, I was sitting on good amount of profit. I didn't want to lose that on a Friday. Friday trade less is much better, and market always have some kind of whipsaw action. As you can see, it did here, up and down. Um, so I tend to stay, away from over trading. And today was, couple of mistakes, but then it did not cause. I did not wait until the complete play out. Otherwise, I would have lost some money on these trades. Uh, so after I stopped trading, I went back and was analyzing to see why did this trades fail. I got so many break evens, and if you can see, all the trades after this initial flush, all the trades around this area, this one, two, three, three setups which were usually very good setups as per my CD cumulative delta and zero ATR. Why did they did not flush? So I was thinking why this was not flushing, and then I remembered that I did not mark my levels of major support that happened overnight. So one of the things that I keep uh, missing out, or I should remember more often, is to mark the level of overnight lows. So if you look at the market today, you can see this is 1 hour chart. So you can see this is you can see this one. This is early yesterday when the market flushed. This was the overnight low that held. And today when the market came down to that place around the 9 o'clock, and then again at around 12 o'clock, it held those levels very well. You can see it tested once, twice, third time, again towards the close. It held each time. That area was strongly guarded. So it is always good to have those levels marked in your chart so that you can take profits accordingly. So this was still a good setups. These trades were good still setups, still a good setups. But if I had marked those previous level, I would have ideally taken profits around when it started hitting those levels. This is a learning that I have to keep in mind from today's third trades. Hopefully, I'll remember that for the next time. This whole week has been good for me. Uh, all the 5 days of the week have been great. Knock on wood. Hope it stays, same. I know part of trading is to accept losses whenever that happens, and that makes you a better trader. Hopefully, those losses that comes in are smaller, and the profits that comes in are larger. As I mentioned yesterday, over time, I'll discuss in detail about my setups and why I take them, and what these lines are. I mentioned here and there, but I'll also show the indicators and the reason I use those indicators. These are all free indicators. I don't have anything here that is paid or unknown. These are all Keltner channels, Bollinger Bands, and simple things. I'll go over my setups and process that I go through. And as part of feedback that I received, I also changed the layout to white. If this works better than the black background, I'll change the trading view as well into white background so that it is much more visible and clearer for the people. Please leave feedback. If you find it useful, give us a thumbs up, and thanks for watching.